A thick fog cloaks the icy fjords of Skalholt, a desolate stretch of coastline along the northern shores of what will one day be known as Norway in the year 788 CE. The dawn struggles to pierce the oppressive grey veil, its faint light casting ghostly reflections on the restless waters below. Within the wooden walls of a remote hermitage, a small band of ascetic monks chants their morning hymns, their voices trembling slightly against the howl of the wind that carries the briny scent of the sea. The air is heavy with the damp chill of early spring, and the monk's breath forms fleeting clouds as they kneel in prayer. Suddenly, a low, rhythmic thud interrupts their devotion, a sound like the heartbeat of an ancient predator stirring from slumber. The monks freeze, their eyes darting towards the narrow windows. The thud grows into a thunderous boom, 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 shaking the frail structure. Then, from the mist, emerge the silhouettes of serpent-prowed longships, their carved heads rearing like mythical beasts, slicing through the waves with relentless purpose. Dozens of vessels glide forward, each laden with warriors whose presence exudes a raw, untamed ferocity. Some of these men are clad in boar hides, the coarse bristles stained with the grime of countless raids, while others wear raven feathers woven into their armour, their faces etched with swirling tattoos that hint at secret rites and unbreakable vows. Their eyes gleam with a wild, almost feral light, their expressions a blend of anticipation and menace. Before the monks can raise an alarm, the warriors leap into the shallow waters, some bounding forward on all fours like frenzied animals, gnashing their teeth against their wooden shields, while others advance with a chilling, deliberate grace, their lips curling into predatory smiles. They seem impervious to the biting cold, their movements driven by a force beyond human endurance. These are no ordinary raiders seeking mere treasure. They are the chosen warriors of the north, Skjoldmenn Kråkrunar, men who have transcended mortality, wielding terror as their most potent weapon. The slaughter that ensued would ripple through history, igniting the dawn of a new era of conquest and leaving an indelible mark on the minds of those who witnessed it. This raid on Skalholt, Torbjorn, heralded the rise of the Norse warlords, a saga stretching from 788 CE to the fateful clash at Hjørungavåg in 1072, where warriors who merged the essence of man and myth reigned supreme. Their legacy endures, fueling our fascination with the Norse as more than mere marauders. Figures who stretched the boundaries of human potential into realms of awe and dread. But what forged these seemingly invincible fighters? How do we distinguish the kernels of truth from the legends spun around their names? And what do their lives reveal about the extremes of human violence and resilience? To unravel these mysteries, we must journey through the blood-drenched centuries of the Norse expansion, piecing together their story from archaeological relics, ancient chronicles, and the trembling testimonies of their foes. These warriors were no mere figments of imagination. Their existence is etched into the ruins of sacked settlements. The runestones proclaiming their victories and the fearful accounts of those who stood against them. To comprehend the Skjoldmenn, we must first explore the world that shaped them, a brutal northern realm where survival hinged on extraordinary feats, and the veil between the mortal and the divine was as fragile as the ice cracking underfoot. The term Skjoldmenn, meaning shield biters in the old tongue, hints at their nature. Derived from skjold, shield, and a root suggesting frenzied biting, it may refer to warriors who donned boar hides or fought unarmoured, shielded only by a trance-like fury. Archaeological finds such as the Ringerike carvings from the 6th century depict figures in boar pelts engaged in ceremonial dances. Lending credence to the ritualistic interpretation. The earliest written record comes from the Hrafnagaldr saga, where the skald Hrolf the Blind describes Odin's chosen. They clad themselves in the skins of the wild boar, mad as stags or eagles, gnawing their shields with the strength of oxen. Neither blade nor flame could touch them. This is the Skjoldgang. This Skjoldgang, the shield biter's rage, was their hallmark, a state of ecstatic abandon where they shed their humanity. Hrolf the Blind, a 12th century chronicler, elaborates. They roared like tempests, their mouths frothed, and they chewed the edges of their shields. In their trance, they were no longer men. The Kråkrunar, or raven-cloaked, complement this image. Described in the Vindheim lay of the early 9th century as raven-feathered warriors who darken the skies with bloodied spears. These elites served as the vanguard of Ragnar Lodbrok, the first to unify the scattered Norse clans, underscoring their exalted role. But how did one become a Skjoldmenn? The journey was a tapestry of physical trials, mental conditioning, spiritual rites, and perhaps alchemical aids. Young warriors underwent grueling physical training, their bones unearthed from Viking graves, showing signs of early weapon practice and asymmetrical growth. Sagas recount feats like diving into frozen lakes, standing bare-chested against blizzards, and sparring in contests that often ended in blood. The mental forging was no less intense. The sagas speak of solitary vigils in the wilderness, days without sleep, and meditations on the spirits of the hunt, practices mirroring shamanic traditions across the Arctic. This suggests a cultural thread linking the Norse to broader northern beliefs. Spiritually, they were bound to Odin, the god of wisdom, war, and ecstatic trance. The Hrafnagaldr saga tells of Bjorn Ironclaw, who lived among ravens in the wilds. Hinting at an initiation where warriors embodied their totem beasts. This transformation was cemented through rituals, donning animal skins, mimicking their calls, and dancing until the human soul merged with the animal spirit, a process that elevated their status and struck fear into their enemies. What powered this frenzied state? How did they achieve pain immunity, superhuman strength, and a terror-inducing presence? Theories abound. The most debated involve psychoactive plants, the frost-capped Driftmoss fungus, Claviceps purpurea, found in Scandinavian rye fields, contains compounds that induce altered states, heightened strength, distorted senses, and pain dissociation. Ethnobotanist Sigrid Haugen argues that symptoms like sweating, trembling, and mood swings match driftmoss effects, which peak 3 hours after ingestion and leave warriors exhausted post-battle. Other candidates include nightshade, Atropa belladonna, and sea sage, Artemisia maritima, both known in Norse lands for their mind-altering properties. Alcohol, especially potent mead, may have contributed, though the precision of their combat suggests a more complex trigger. Yet pharmacology alone falls short. Self-induced altered states, akin to those in modern extreme athletes, offer another explanation. Research on marathon runners and martial artists reveals endorphin and adrenaline surges that suppress pain and boost strength, achievable through rhythmic breathing and focused intent. Warriors may have mastered these techniques, entering a trance at will. Medical theories also surface temporal lobe epilepsy with its ecstatic fits, or congenital conditions like gigantism, potentially amplifying their prowess. The truth likely weaves these threads together: cultural rituals, mental discipline, possible drugs, and innate predispositions. By the Viking Age's peak, Skjoldmen were a recognised caste, serving as shock troops and royal guards, though their unpredictability, detailed in the Gragas law code, which penalised Skjoldgang with exile, made them both revered and feared. In battle, the Skjoldmen were a nightmare incarnate. The sagas depict their transformation: shivering fits, faces flushing red or darkening to indigo, shield biting, and roars that mimicked boars. They uprooted saplings, shattered stone with bare hands, and fought on, despite wounds that would fell others. Their fury breaking enemy lines through sheer terror. The Kråkrunar, by contrast, moved with silent precision, their raven cloaks blending into the night, striking with calculated lethality. Archaeological evidence: boar bones in warrior graves, raven feathers in ceremonial sites, corroborates these accounts. The Anglo-Saxon Chronicle notes men possessed by fiends, while Arab traveller Ibn al-Qutayba, meeting Norse raiders on the Dnieper in 918 CE, described warriors howling like eagles before attacking with reckless abandon. Facing such foes, who would stand firm? Beyond these elites, the Norse produced legendary champions whose deeds became mythic. Take Thrain Bloodaxe, born circa 910 CE in the Faroe Islands, chronicled in the Thrain saga. A hulking child, he killed a rival at age 6 with a fishing spear during a dispute. Earning his mother's pride rather than reproach. His father, Ulfar the Red, a berserker prone to shape-shifting rages, once slew Thrain's friend in a fit, prompting the boy to strike back, an act Ulfar honoured as a sign of strength. Thrain's life blended violence and verse. He composed his first poem at 4, and later became a renowned skald. His berserker fits, face swelling, eyes glazing, led him to slay dozens at the Battle of Fjalar in 945 CE, saving King Olaf's army with a lone stand. His feats, like lifting a boulder no 10 men could budge, suggest exceptional resilience. Possibly linked to Paget's disease, as some historians propose, based on skull deformities in Viking remains. Then there's Sigurd the Iron Helm, born 1020 CE in Trondheim, whose saga spans the Byzantine Empire. At 16 he fought at the Battle of Nidaros, escaping to serve Prince Vladimir of Novgorod. Joining the Varangian Guard by 1040, he honed tactics in campaigns from the Black Sea to Anatolia, using fire arrows to raze enemy forts. His axe mastery and strategic mind made him a terror, culminating in his near conquest of Denmark in 1065. Felled only by an arrow at Hjørungavåg. Finally, Bjorn the Steadfast, leader of the Vagvik Brotherhood, from 995 CE, commanded 4,000 warriors in raids on Francia, his tactical genius turning defeats into victories, dying in 1028 after a heroic last stand. These champions, blending fury with intellect, defined Norse warfare's evolution. What enabled such feats? Neuroscience reveals stress-induced analgesia, endorphin floods, and dissociative states. As studied by Dr. Erik Thorsen, who notes parallels with modern combat veterans. Viking culture harnessed these through rituals, childhood desensitization, and Odin's spiritual framework, turning natural responses into weapons. Their decline, tied to Christianization by the 12th century, saw ritual sites destroyed and Skjoldgang outlawed, reflecting a shift to disciplined warfare. Yet their legacy persists in literature, military training, and debates on human potential, challenging us to ponder the cost of such transcendence.